Mr. PILGRIM'S. Audio. So I saw that quickly after they left the fair, they overtook one who was ahead of them, whose name was PILGRIM'S. They said to him, "What country are you from, sir, and how far do you intend to go this way?" He told them that he came from the town of Fair Speech, and he was going to the celestial city, but he did not tell them his name. From Fair Speech. Christian exclaimed. "Are there any godly people living there?" "Yes," said PILGRIM'S, "I certainly hope so." "Please, sir, what may I call you?" Christian said. PILGRIM'S, "I am a stranger to you, and you to me. If you are going this way, I shall be glad to have your company, but if not, I must be content to travel alone." "This town of Fair Speech," Christian said, "I have heard of. As I remember, they say that it is a wealthy place." PILGRIM'S, "Yes, I will assure you that it is, and I have many very rich kindred there." Christian, "Who are your kindred there, if I may be so bold to ask?" PILGRIM'S, "Almost the whole town. In particular, my Lord Turnabout, my Lord Timeserver, my Lord Fair Speech, from whose ancestors that town first took its name, also Mr. Smoothman, Mr. Facing both ways, and Mr. Anything. The parson of our parish, Mr. Two Tongues, is my mother's own brother. To tell you the truth, I have become a gentleman of good quality. My great-grandfather was but a waterman, looking one way and rowing another, and I got most of my estate by the same occupation." Christian, "Are you a married man?" PILGRIM'S, "Yes, my wife is a very virtuous woman, and the daughter of a virtuous woman. She was my Lady Faning's daughter, therefore she came from a very honorable family. She has arrived to such a height of good breeding, that she knows how to behave towards all kinds of people, whether prince or peasant. It is true that we somewhat differ in religion from those of the stricter sort, but only in two small points. First, we never strive against wind and tide. Secondly, we are always most zealous when religion goes in silver slippers. We love to walk with religion in the street if the sun shines, and the people applaud it." Then Christian stepped a little aside to his fellow hopeful, saying, "I am thinking that this is Mr. PILGRIM'S from the town of Fair Speech, and if so, we have as bad a knave in our company, as dwells in all these parts." Then Hopeful replied, "Ask him again, I think he should not be ashamed of his own name." So Christian came up to PILGRIM'S again, and said, "Sir, you talk as if one could serve both God and Mammon at the same time. I think I know who you are. Is not your name Mr. PILGRIM'S, of the town of Fair Speech?" PILGRIM'S, "This is not my name, but indeed it is a nickname that is given to me by some who do not like me. I must be content to bear it as a reproach, as other good men have borne reproach before me." Christian, "But did you ever give an occasion for men to call you by this name?" PILGRIM'S, "Never, never. The worst that I ever did, was that I always had the wisdom to go along with the current ways of the times, whatever they were. I was always lucky enough to prosper thereby. But if the malicious cast such reproachful names upon me, then let me count them a blessing." Christian, "I thought, indeed, that you were the PILGRIM'S that I have heard of, and I think that this name belongs more properly to you, than you are willing to admit." PILGRIM'S, "Well, if you thus think so, I cannot help that. I am sure that you shall find me to be a good companion, if you agree to take me along with you." Christian, "If you will come with us, then you must go against the wind and tide, which, I perceive, is against your desires. You must also own religion when in his rags, as well as when in his silver slippers. You must stand with him, too, when he is bound in iron chains, as well as when he walks the streets with applause. PILGRIM'S, you will not be my judge, nor impose your views upon me. Allow me to do as I think best, and let me go with you." Christian, "You shall not go a step further with us, unless you intend to do as we proposed." Then PILGRIM'S retorted, "I shall never desert my old principles, since they are both harmless and profitable. If I may not go with you, then I must do as I did before you caught up with me, travel by myself, until I meet with someone who will be glad for my company."